And welcome to the Writer's Life, a place where you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life, and where you get the truth. I'm looking for my ruler. Where's my ruler? I don't know. Somebody stole it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button. Tap the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on one single exciting video. And I got the wonderful Harvey Stanbrough with me today. Harvey is going to be one of our featured authors in True Pulp, the True Pulp anthology, edited by Troy Lambert and myself, which comes out, I think, in August, mid-August, something like that. Our Kickstarter is starting June 3rd, however, and you'll be hearing a lot about that. I think we have 12 authors, and everybody will be sharing, and everybody's going to have their individual page and all this sort of stuff, and some really, really cool stuff there. Some really cool rewards. And the more you support us, the more rewards there'll be. You know what, Harvey? We're even doing a limited edition signed hardcover. So we're gonna send like 100 books around to all of it, all us authors, or like around the world almost. And everybody's gonna sign it, send it back, and it sounds like an impossible task, but Troy thinks we can do it.
So, if anybody can pull it off, you and Troy can.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Like you just by sheer will, force of will. I got so many wires around me here, Harvey. Harvey's like prolific beyond prolific. You've written something like 183 novels, novellas, and stories at this point. You've probably written 183 novels and 1,000 stories.
No, I think I'm on. I don't know. I'm about 300 short stories, about 110 or 12 novels.
Wow.
10 novellas, and that's in the past 8 years.
Oh my God!
That's what I do. I just write. That's all I do.
Yeah, basically, you started this when you were about 30.
Yeah. I wish I'd started I wish I'd found Heinlein's Rules when I was 30.
Yeah, actually, I do too. Harvey hails from Arizona, southern Arizona, and he writes like in an Adobe. Is that right? Like, is it an Adobe?
Yeah. I'm out here in my little Adobe home. Walls are about 3.5 feet thick, and it's cool.
That's awesome.
It's a true man cave.
Right, and you get up at like 3 a.m, don't you? You make the coffee and just go in there at like 3 a.m.
I get up whenever I wake up. I usually go to bed around 7 or 8 at night because there's nothing on crap TV these days, and
right.
So I get up when I get up, and I go out, and the other day I slept in. I got up at 4:30. So I'm usually out here at 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I usually work until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, which like right now it's 12:25 Arizona time, and I think you're about 3:25, aren't you?
Yeah, we're 3:24 exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I wanted to ask you, Harvey, since Pulp Fiction is the theme of this anthology, what's your definition of Pulp Fiction? This is what, for all of you who don't know this yet, Troy and I did a video last night, and we discussed this very question, and it's going to be a question I'm going to pose to all the authors. What's their definition of Pulp Fiction? Because believe it or not, the great Dean Wesley Smith, who's also going to be included in this anthology along with his wife Kristen Catherine Rush, he kept asking me, like, what's Pulp Fiction? What is it? What you keep telling me you want a Pulp Fiction story, but how do you define that? And I was like, I don't know if he's testing me here or what. But anyway, so you answer the question.
Yeah, it's grit. That's what it is. It's grit. I heard you and Troy talking about it a little earlier today, And you know, to me, it's just grit. It's grow a pair. You know, it's
Right.
hard guys, hard gals. You know, gun malls, detectives, gangland guys, whatever. And you know, they can be on a spaceship somewhere going to some other place. Well, they're still human, you know, and they're going to take all their crap with them.
Right.
I think it was Dean Wesley Smith first told me, you know, if you take a Western, a really good Western, and just put it in a spaceship, you've got a science fiction. And so that's basically all it is. You know, it's just grit. It's having the having the courage to stand up and do things that you wouldn't typically be asked to do. And you know, Troy was saying, or you were, one of the two of you were saying this morning, you're not doing it for any particular reward, unless maybe it's the, you know, the good-looking girl you want to hook up with, or
Right.
You're showing off, because that's what we do, right? That's guys show off.
Right.
And so that's all it really is. Pretty much everything I've ever written has been pulp in one way or another.
Right.
I'm working on, I think I'm on the 44th novel now of a Blackwell Ops series, in which it's a worldwide network of professional assassins. And you know, and there's all the little bits of romance and action adventure and a lot of gunplay and all that kind of stuff. And I wrote a Western saga that went on. I thought I was going to write one Western novel, period, be done with it. And that turned into a trilogy. And that led me to write 3 prequels to the trilogy. And now there are 23 or 24 novels in that saga. And it's all about one guy, one old Texas Ranger who lived his life and went all the way from the Texas Panhandle and ended up down in the state of Guerrero in Mexico, down where Acapulco is. So, you know, but it was the same thing. There was a little romance and there was a little gunplay and, you know, chasing the bad guys, and, you know, it's just good stuff, just good escapist fiction.
That's my favorite, and it must be. And tell me if I'm wrong. You entertain yourself while you're writing these stories.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? I'm living all these different lives, you know.
Right.
Like in Blackwell Ops alone, I've been a male assassin, a female assassin, and I've been probably 20 different male assassins and probably 4 female assassins, because the characters invite me into the story and let me run through it with them. So, you know, I get all the fun without having the shot of being blown up, right. Basically.
And,
yeah.
And the beauty of your stories, like everybody else included in the anthology, is no one's held back by any kind of like wokeism or no censorship. There's no, you know, we're not trying to offend anybody either, on the other hand, but what comes out, and all these stories, and I think this was true of pulp of the past, of the 1930s through the 60s or whatever, you know, that it was accessible for everybody. It was you went to the grocery store and you picked up whatever you needed for the day, your milk, your eggs, your juice, your, you know, whatever you had for dinner. And and there's the spinner rack with you know, romance, westerns, mystery books, and like, I think I'll grab one of these too for whatever they cost in the day, 90 cents or something like that. And you read it and you forgot it. You know, you enjoyed yourself for a little while, and you got away from it all. And I think, without realizing it, in my case, like, I think this is what I had been going for as early as writing school in the mid 90s. You know, I was, you know, I remember telling a couple of my professors while we were having a beer. I was like, I want to entertain people, and then like you want to hear like you can hear a pin drop. Like, what? You want to entertain people? That's not what that's not why you're in writing school. You're in writing school to write some huge opus that will bore people to death.
Yeah, there is no pretension in Pulp Fiction. There's no pretense. There's no pretending. It's just a story. It just and most of it is what the reader kind of wishes he was living or she was living.
Right.
I heard you guys talking about all the old Pulp stuff this morning. There was one magazine, devoted Pulp magazine, back in I think it was 40s to the 60s. And it was a long-running magazine, and it was devoted strictly to romance,
right.
to like Western romance. Like, the sheriff rides out to the ranch and helps the woman, defend her home, and
right.
they end up getting married and having a bunch of kids and all that.
Right. Every woman's dream.
Yeah. So it wasn't even just, today there's a big push to try to get some men's fiction back and boys fiction. And that's a good thing. I'm glad for that.
Yes. But you and I are included in Frank Theodet's new collection.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, is that out yet? I don't even know if it's out yet.
I haven't heard any more out of him about it, so I'm just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
But you and I both, we write so much, it's easy to forget. It's easy to go, wait a minute, didn't I submit something to a magazine here 2 months ago?
Right, right.
But
it's so true
because it wasn't all for guys either. It was a lot of it was for women.
Sure.
And all the guys are strong, and in one way or another, they might even be a little guy like me, but they're strong morally, or they're they're all strong one way or another, and all the women are strong one way or another.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah. I do too. They could take a beating and they still get up.
Yeah.
And for instance, one of the things I loved about, and I think the whole world did, about the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones, when he has that fight with the big ass German, and the German just like jabs him once, and he goes down on his ass, and he's like, all right. You're like, okay, we're not in Kansas anymore. This guy isn't a superhero. This guy's an everyman. He's gonna get his ass kicked, but he's gonna come back every time. Doesn't matter. And that's the kind, like Sergeant Rock. Like not the biggest guy in the world, but he's tough.
Yeah.
And
that's
big guys around him, but
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant by grit. I think a while ago is it's that keep getting up. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. All that matters is you keep getting up.
Right. Not to mix personal stuff with this conversation at all, but like I went through a lot of health shit last year, right? We all, I hit 60, and sure enough, man, that light went off in the car, and it was like, like something hit me,
brother.
Something, the 100,000 mile light, and something hit me that like most people would be like, well, that's it, I'm just gonna lay down and die. But like, I kept writing and kept living my life the normal way I always did it, and the doctors were like, man, you are tough. You are one tough son of a bitch. And I'm like, not really. I just not gonna let this bother me.
Just keep getting up.
Just keep getting up.
Yeah.
And that's what all my characters do, and your characters do too. So I think this is something we didn't really touch upon in my interview with Troy yesterday, because we did maybe a little bit, but I think this is a real. It's kind of. This is the attraction to Pulp Fiction, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy who's up against the guy or the gal was up against it all, and who's you know, they're probably broke. They're probably doing whatever they're about to do. They're about to do something probably really, really wrong in order to make something right in the world, you know, and they're just willing to do it because nobody else
takes responsibility for it.
And take responsibility for it. Exactly.
Yep.
And especially in a world that's as corrupt as ours, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, and they're usually one person up against it all. And,
you know, I had one character he's taught me so much. The guy's name is Wes Crowley, and one day while he and I were writing one of his stories, and he said somebody asked him about, you know, don't you have a sense of right or wrong and all that stuff, you know, and Wes just looked at him and said, hey, upright is not a matter of degree. You know, in every moment you either are upright or you're not. And nobody's perfect, but upright is not a matter of degree. And that's what all these guys do. They're always upright. They always, you know, they always do what they're supposed to do. And if they have to do something a little shady to make things right, then they do that. But they also take responsibility for it.
Right. So, what, you know, like, where do you get your inspiration from, Harvey? I mean, do you get it from reading, or do you get it just from life, or or is it just, you know what, the muse speaks to me, and this is what I was meant to do, and this is what comes out?
You know, at this stage, and I'm not bragging, I'm just reporting. At this stage, I don't even think about it. I never think about, you know, where's my next idea going to come from, or any of that kind of stuff. I come in here every morning, and the first thing I do is spend a couple hours getting my daily journal out. And once that's published and gone, if I don't have a story, I put my fingers on the keyboard and write the, or a, or an, or next, or before, and then I write whatever happens after that.
Whatever happens next. Yep.
And it just takes off. Hemingway famously once gave himself advice in one of his stories. He said, you know, you've always written before and you will write now. And he said, just write one true sentence.
Right.
Write the truest sentence you know. And I thought, man, that is some seriously profound shit right there.
It was. So, people try to complicate it, but it's just write a fucking sentence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, write the truest sentence you know. And in other words, keep yourself honest, I think is all it is. Write what you really want to put down on the page. And that's in the back of my mind. Pretty much the whole time I'm sitting at the computer, that's in the back of my mind.
Right.
You know, write that, make it a true sentence, make it sound like you want it to sound. And but at the same time, you know, you're telling the character's story. I'm not the guy living these stories. My characters are living them.
I believe. I agree completely. Which is, I think that's one of the reasons why, when we leave those characters, we have memories of them.
Oh
for
yeah.
A while, until we contact them again. But I'll finish a novel and I don't remember what it's about, and I'll go back and read it. You know, like. And I'll be like, I wrote this.
Yeah, I might not even. Just a few days ago, I had to look up. I remembered what the cover looked like of a short story I wrote a long time ago, because it's a really unique, weird cover. So I remembered that. So I had to go to Stone Thread Publishing and look at all my short stories, at all the covers, and they're like, I don't know, they're 280 or something on there already. And I went and browsed all these covers.
Hang on, Harv.
So I could get the name of the title, because I couldn't remember it. And someone asked me about it. You there? Oh, I think we've lost Vin. He'll be back. Hey, Vin, you there, bud? Well, see, Ben's been knocked off by the weather, and I don't know if I'm live here or not. So I'll just keep talking a little bit. Ben can do with it as he pleases. Um, I was saying I don't live the stories the characters do. And I'm really lucky because these days I just sit down at the computer and drop in whichever characters want to talk. And then I write what happens to them and what they say and do about it, you know, in reaction to what happens. And that's the whole
Are we
story.
back?
Yeah. I've been here the whole time, but you've been gone.
Are you back with me, Harvey?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here, Ben. Hey, Ben. Are you there, bud? I haven't seen you the whole time. I've seen your screen over here, but I haven't seen you. Hey, hey, Ben, are you out there? Weather knock you out again? Denny, are you there, bud? Hey, Ben, are you there, buddy?
Let's see.
Ben, there?
I think we're back.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's heard. Hey, Ben, are you there, bud? Mr. Zandri, are you there, buddy? Hey, Ben. Hey, Ben, are you there? Well, if I thought we were on live and I was talking to anybody at all, I'd keep talking, but I don't think I am. So I'll just sit here and wait for Ben to come back.
That should be it.
Are you there, Ben? I heard you again. You there, buddy? Ben, are you there, bud? Okay, well, I've waited around, Ben. You didn't say anything, so I'm just going to cut this thing off and we'll talk to you later.